Hello and welcome to Zero to Python in 30 days. This course is going to teach you how to be a Python programmer. Now this is a very entry-level course. This is not super advanced. This is from taking you from literally zero knowledge about programming to being able to write Python programs yourself. And along the way, you and I will be working together to create your first real Python program. We'll be creating a journal entry program where it's like a daily journal that you can use via the command line. And so it's something that's functional, it's something that's real, it's something that you can use as part of your resume or projects list, that kind of thing. The first thing for you to understand is why this course is set up the way it is. And I've structured the whole thing around an idea that I call the simple learning system. Now, the simple learning system works like this. You pick a fun project, and then every day you do a little bit on it. So you write at least one line of code per day on that project or more. Then you just keep working on that project until you're done or you're tired of it or you want to do something else. And then you go find another fun project and you do the same thing. Now, this is how basically I learned how to code. This is how a lot of the best programmers I've ever met really got going with programming. Is they found it to be fun, they found some projects they wanted to do, and so they just kept doing them until they figured it out. That's how I think a lot of people learn best. It's a little less formal in a lot of ways than what maybe you've experienced in school, but if you can figure out how to follow the fun and really chase that around as a programmer, you will find yourself practicing more, but it won't feel like practice, it'll feel like fun. It'll feel like, oh, I just wanted to do this thing, so I did that and I made that and that was cool. Oh yeah, along the way I learned this algorithm or this other thing, but that's fine because, it's useful and I needed it so I could do this fun thing that I was trying to do. That's how you become a really good programmer. So that's how this course is built. It's meant to be fun, it's meant to be something that you learn along the way, but it's not quite the same sort of rigorous as you would have in, say, a college level comp sci course. How does this work? What can you expect in this course? Well, this course is split between, basically 30 days of lessons. So each day I will explain something and then we will work together. I will type it out. And then basically at the end of the lesson, it's your turn. Your assignment is to type out the same kind of thing and build it yourself and really get the experience of programming sort of under your fingers. That is how ultimately you learn, because programming is a skill that really involves taking an idea in your head and then working it throughout to your fingers into the computer and so on and so forth. And so there is very much a physical component to this that gets easier the more you actually type out the code, the more that you actually write software yourself. That's how you get good. There are some things that you can do in using this course to get even more out of it. Now, you don't have to do these things, but I've found that it helps. People who do this tend to get a lot more out of it. So here's a few things that can help. First thing, have fun. Again, you're going to build up a better habit and more momentum as a programmer if you're having fun. So, treat it as fun. Treat it as something that you're looking forward to doing, not something that you have to do. It's not a chore. It's something that you enjoy. Second, watch the videos. I'm doing both a video version of this and then also a text version of this on my Substack. So if you're just reading the text, you might not be getting all of this. So make sure that you're both watching the videos and actually reading the text content as well. Sometimes I put something in one that's not in the other, that kind of thing. You can get more that way if you do both, basically. Third thing, write the code yourself. One of the ways that beginner programmers actually hobble themselves, they copy-paste code from the internet. Now, a lot of programmers end up copy-pasting code that they find elsewhere that solves a problem, and that's understandable. But if you're in learning mode, if you're trying to build up the skill, you really need to write out the code yourself. That's how you get better. That's how you build the skills that you need to have. So don't copy paste the code. Actually write it out step by step, line by line yourself, run it. Sometimes it's not going to work, and that's great. You got to learn the skill of fixing these things too. So make sure you type out the code, which then kind of leads to the next thing, which is do the assignments. Now, the assignments are sometimes, write exactly the thing that I did. Sometimes it's take the idea that I did and do something else with it that's kind of interesting too. But again, you will learn more by actually programming than by listening to me talk about programming. And sure, I like to talk about programming, but you're going to get a whole lot better if you actually practice programming. So do the assignments, write the code. That'll get you a huge amount more value than if you just listen to me talk. Next thing is to break things. Now you go, what kind of teacher is going to tell their student to break things? Well, this guy is. And here's why. Along the way, your software is going to break. There's going to be bugs. You're going to have typos. This is a real thing that happens all the time. So what you want to do is you sometimes want to practice, like after you make something work, you might want to practice breaking it to see how it breaks. Like, for example, you might type in some code and it works and it prints out some text to the screen. We're going to be practicing that in a future lesson. But sometimes you might type it in wrong and something else will happen. Maybe Python will give you an error. You want to have the practice of seeing what those errors are, understanding what they mean, and then fixing them. So this is very important for you to learn along the way, is you really want to really just get an understanding of not just how to do things the right way, but also how to fix things when they go wrong, because a huge part of your job as a programmer over time is to fix things when they break. And they do break. They're called bugs. The next big, important, useful thing you can do is to read the extra documentation. Now, you don't need to go too far with this. There are some people who will spend all their time reading the docs and they never write code. Your priority is to write code. But along the way, I will be linking to extra documentation, useful tools, that sort of thing. It is worth your while to actually read those, to study them a little bit and to get a better understanding of that. Because again, this course operates very much more at a higher level. I'm not going to go into every detail about how every function or command or whatever works. I'm going to give you the thing that allows you to move forward. And then it's a little bit up to you to get a deeper understanding of those things later. Now, you don't have to. You don't need to deep dive on everything. But it is useful to sometimes read up a little bit and to go, oh, that's why Brian did this thing. So read the docs. And then the last thing, and this is something I've told all my coaching clients whenever I'm teaching someone this, you want to focus on making progress, not perfection. You'll hear me say things like progress, not perfection all the time. And it comes down to the idea of like, look, if you're getting a little bit better every day, you eventually become very, very good. Now, that doesn't mean that you become really good instantly, but the process of becoming very good as a programmer is to show up over and over again and to write software. So if all you did was write one little line of code each day, but you did that for a decade, you'd probably become a much better programmer after 10 years than you were on day one. That's what I mean when I say progress, not perfection. Don't get in your head about this. Don't, be kind to yourself. Sort of look at yourself with kind eyes. Trust that if you make a little bit of progress each day, you'll get there. And I've worked with tons of programmers by now. And, as long as they're getting progress, as long as you are making a little bit of headway every day, that is pretty much the sure path to success. And so all I expect out of you is to show up, pay attention, and then to make a little bit of progress each day. And if you do this, you'll make it to the end of the course. You'll have working software and you'll have a lot of fun along the way. So that's it for today. That is what you can expect from this course. I will see you tomorrow.